We're talking about libraries a bit, and let's shift a little bit deeper into libraries for a moment, since they're at the center of a lot of these difficult conversations right now. And let's give our attendees some background information. So librarians choose the books and the programs that take place at their libraries. So what does that mean? Are librarians gatekeepers for what's appropriate for a community to read or to experience? How does that work? And has that changed at all over time?
Librarians, they're all different kinds of librarians, and they're all different kinds of libraries. You know, they're libraries. Some businesses have libraries, law firms have libraries, hospitals have libraries, schools have libraries, towns have libraries. Each of these libraries has a different mission, and the librarians who work there have different responsibilities to fulfill that mission. And so when they're choosing resources for the library, whether they're books or reference materials of some kind, digital materials, they're weighing the needs of the people who use that library. Now, as a high school librarian, I think very carefully about the things I purchase. It will depend on what courses are being taught from one year to the next in my school. You know, if a course is no longer being taught, then maybe I don't need to carry that topic. And so I'm not going to buy, I might not get rid of the books I have on that topic, but I might not buy new ones. So yes, in some ways we are gatekeepers, but gatekeepers sound, a gate is an obstruction, and we're more about opening access and providing paths to information. And we are also about offering lots of choices. So, we want to have as many perspectives as we can, but we also want the information that we offer to be current and factual, and not lead people to mistaken beliefs.
And so much of it really comes down to knowing your community, whether it's your college community, your actual community, you're a public librarian. So if you have a lot of folks who speak French in your community, you're not going to buy a ton of Spanish books. You're going to, look at what people are reading, what's circulating, what programs people are showing up for. Of course, you want to find diverse viewpoints on different topics and make sure folks are represented, but also you want to provide your community with what they're using, what's circulating. So that's a huge piece of it. Our budgets are limited. We can't purchase every book that has ever been printed. So sometimes we do have to make hard decisions, and we do that based on our best knowledge of our community's needs.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I first of all, I don't know how intimately any attendees know the Maine library community, but we have a huge range of librarians working in the state. Some people have master's degrees and are professionally trained. Other people are volunteers who are just trying to do their best and figure out how to provide this service to their community. And across that spectrum, I cannot think of a person who doesn't consider their role in their community and think about developing a collection for the folks they serve. And many people are thinking about who isn't coming to my library yet, and what would it take to get them to come to this library. And sometimes that's very explicit, but sometimes it's just one person sitting in their quiet library 5 hours a week, ruminating on this. And so I think it's just a great opportunity for conversation with whichever library staff you interact with, getting to know each other, because that improves the services you receive. And again, it's just positive community building. And I personally love all those little informal interactions that really can shine light on what people want from the library. And of course, in the school library, we have different functions, as Heather said. So, it's not quite like that in the school library, but the community I worked in was very rural, and lots of people liked books on ATVs and hunting, and those books circulated. So I'm going to buy those books. Do I have a ratio? I'm not thinking about that stuff. I'm like, what books do these kids want to take?
I was just going to say, reading is social, and people think of reading as, oh, it's just me and the book, solitary, but we are very social creatures, and reading is much more than just you and the book. And librarians love to talk about books with their patrons and their readers, and that is part of how we do our job. It's by knowing our community and our readers.
I was just going to mention that as a public librarian, we have a collection development policy, and we don't make decisions in a vacuum. We have a board of trustees that help guide us. We look at what our community wants, how our community is made up, and it's not just one person's decision sitting and choosing which books are. We have a variety of people looking at the same information about our books. And I think that makes a better collection going forward. We are a medium-sized library. We don't have a huge reference collection, but we really do have a lot of popular fiction here and kids' books, because that's what we are asked for.
And I think what you all are describing too is definitely to get at the part of the question that's, how have things changed over time? I think this shift into really listening to what the community is asking for and is observing what the community is doing, reading local news to pay attention to what the community cares about. This is shift that's happened over time in libraries. And so that gatekeeping role, I think, is an older model. I think there is a little bit of a stereotype that librarians only collect quality, whatever that might mean. And that they are the arbiters of what that means, right, in terms of what the community deserves to read or what have you. But it's a lot more community responsive. And so I appreciate you all weighing in with that. I think every single one of you said community.